and welcome back to another Thunderous Productions video. I'm the madman behind the mic, Jag Thunder, and this is Minecraft. And what's up, guys, and welcome to another tutorial, I guess. I've been working on a custom world in my BIB series, that's Build It Better, for those who are not following it. And we're building a giant custom world using World Painter. I've had several requests to do a World Painter tutorial. Now, I haven't been using it that long, so I'm just going to go over just the very basics of how to get started using it, and a couple of things you'll need to understand about it before you can use it. So anyways, the link will be in the description on where to download World Painter, and once you have it and install it, find your World Painter icon executable and open it up. And this is what you'll get, World Painter. And you'll start with your main map right here. This is a pre-generated map that World Painter gives you, and you don't have to use this. I suggest not using it. It's very, very predictable, and it's kind of ugly. So anyways, what we're going to do is we're going to go over some of the tools and where everything is first, and then I'm going to show you how to set up a world. Or let's just set up a world first. It would probably make more sense. So we're going to go to File and New World, and we're going to just call it Generated World for right now. These are your dimensions and multiples of 128. Again, I would suggest starting with a 640 by 640. That's 640 blocks by 640 blocks. And you can increase this to whatever size that you want. Again, this will depend on the speed of your computer, how much RAM you have, and all that good stuff. The bigger you go, the bigger computer you're going to need to process the information after you're all done. So test out smaller versions and work your way up to bigger versions to see what your computer can handle. Would hate to see you do a 10K map and you spend weeks and weeks and weeks on it and not be able to process it out. So anyways, there's the size of your map. You can do a circular world, which just makes it round. The height is 256. That is the default in Minecraft, of course. The topography, you can either have it hilly with hill heights and horizontal hill size. Most of the time, everybody uses flat, and that's what I've used so far. And you're going to create your own mountains and your own hills and all that good shit. Your level is 64. Your water level is 62. Again, these are adjustable. If you want more space for taller buildings, then you'll go ahead and lower these by whatever you want. My custom world that I'm using, I think the water is at 27 or 25, and the level is 27, so it's 2 above. I always just go ahead and keep it standard, 2 above. But for this tutorial, we're going to leave it at 64 and the water level at 62. Now you can include lava instead of water. Again, your choice. And beaches on or off. I'm turning the beaches off because, again, we will do those customly. Your surface material, you can do it out of grass. And you have bare grass that has no tall grass, no flowers, no nothing. So you can choose whichever one here that you want. I usually use grass. Some people use dirt. Some people use sand. Again, that's totally up to you what you want to use. We're going to use grass. Extended block IDs. Again, I am a noob, and I'm not sure what the hell this is. But it says whether or not, we'll just read it together. It says whether to support block IDs higher than 255 but lower than 4096 is used by different variants. So in other words, we're not going to use this. Minecraft seed, ocean or land. This is a random generated seed that will generate around your world. Now remember that this is for creating new maps. It's not recommended, and you probably won't be able to pull in one of your Minecraft maps and try to render that out and add kind of hills and different topography on those sorts of maps. It's not designed to do that, so don't try to pull one of your worlds in and fuck it up. But anyways, once you go outside of this this generated 640 by 640, depending on the border that you have, Minecraft will start to regenerate whatever it is for that particular seed. So you'll start getting your biomes and your trees and your hills and all that kind of shit. So down here we pick either ocean or land. 99% of the time you're going to pick ocean. That way it looks like your map will blend in just a little bit better once you get outside of that 640 by 640, plus whatever border that we put around it, which will naturally be water. Once you pass that, Minecraft will try to generate an ocean seed. That way, hopefully, your island that you make ends up in the middle of the ocean. So that's all the basics here. Nothing really, really special. You can play around again with your heights and stuff like that, and go ahead and click create. And what you'll have is your green map right here. This is all grass. Down in the left hand corner you have location. So this is your XY coordinates. Yes, and Z is your height, but you don't have Z. Your height right here, it says question mark of 255. When I put my mouse on it, you can see the height is 64. And remember, that is our main land height. Material is grass, so whatever I mouse over, it will tell me what material is here, and also what biome. Once we start putting biomes in, it's automatically going to do biome planes. Right here is the radius that is going to go with your brushes. And move, please. And this is your zoom. When you start zooming in and out, you'll see this bar move up and down, and you'll get a different percentage. Up at the top, there's several different things. Again, here's your file. This is where you have your new world. You'll open a world if you already have one, and you can import height maps. And it says Minecraft maps, but again, I would not recommend that. Your height maps you can get off Google. Just go ahead and search for height maps, grayscale height maps. Make sure they're PNG, BMP, JPEGs. You will probably have to import a lot of those into GIMP or Photoshop and turn it into a grayscale. For those, I don't use GIMP, but those in Photoshop, you go up to Image, Mode, and change it to grayscale and discard colors. And then save it again as a PNG is probably the easiest way to do it. And then you can import a height map, and it will give you a pre-generated world with different mountains and oceans and all that good shit. Other than that, I'm not going to go over too much more than that. That's something you'll have to play around with. I've only done it a couple times. This is where you'll save your world. This is where you'll export your world as a Minecraft map. 99.9% of the time, that is what you're going to want to do, and we'll go over that when we're all done. Merge with a Minecraft map. Again, not going to go into that. Previous imported Minecraft maps and shit like that. You have your edit button up here. Extended block IDs, change height, rotate. You probably won't dig into this very much at all. Here's your zoom in, zoom out, control pad number plus, control pad number minus, and control plus 0 are for your zooming in and zooming out. Also, shortcut keyboard, control, and your mouse wheel zooming in and out will also give you your zoom. There's some other things down here that you'll probably will not use, except for control view, and we'll go over this here in just a second. And show 3D view. This is going to give you a 3D map of what you're looking at. So when you start making mountains and stuff, you'll have it pull up on here. You can lock it. So if you only have one screen on your computer, you can lock it right here and you can see what you're doing. I have 3, so it doesn't matter. I put it on one of the other screens. These are your rotate buttons, so you can rotate around what you're looking at. And then you have another button here, so export to an image file. And then here you can move your spawn location and move the view, the origin to the coordinates. So you can punch in coordinates and go to a certain area. As your map gets bigger, as far as I know, there is no zoom on this screen. You'll just have to use your bars or your left click on the mouse button and move it around to where you want it. If somebody knows if there is a zoom feature on this window, please let me know. But as of right now, I do not know there is one. All right, so we're going to leave that up. We're going to put it right here in the corner so we can see what's going on. Just below here, we've got some more tools up along the top. Save files. There's a bunch of other shit here you probably will not use. Another button here for move your the view to the spawn point. Move the view, the origin of the coordinates. Enable or disable the grid. You're probably going to want the grid on, and I'll show you that here in just a minute. And then also to enable or disable height contours. You're going to want that on too. Also enable or disable image overlays. I don't have that on. Maximum view distance. You can turn that on and it shows a circle around you, and that's the default distance that you can actually see in default Minecraft. So if you're building something and you want people to be able to see the mountain as soon as they spawn in on your server map that you're making, you know exactly where to start placing it. And then there's a couple more things showing 5 minute, 1 day, how long it takes to walk that distance, and some rotate buttons. I believe that's what those are. Yes, rotate. All right, on the left hand side you have tools. You have a raised pyramid, from raises squares but rotates 45 degrees. Pyramids out of the ground, blah blah blah. You're not going to use these, fuck those. Fill with water, fill with lava. So when you have a low spot in the map, you can just click on this and then left click and it will fill it in. You'll have a raise and lower button. These are the three most important buttons here. These are the ones you're probably going to be using the most. This is raise and lower the terrain. So when you click on this, now you have a circle, and this corresponds with your brushes over here. Now I have some custom brushes installed, and I'll go over that at the end of the tutorial, how to install these. But you're going to start off with the basic brushes. Never ever fucking use these solid ones over here unless you're completely wiping the map. These are just like brushes in Photoshop, or I'm sure like GIMP. You're probably going to be wanting to use these three over here, which are more like an airbrushed effect. And then you have a noise brush, and then you also have a cracks brush. These are more for effects, for doing like little streams, and also for pulling up mountains by default. And again, to get better looking mountains, you're going to want custom brushes. So anyways, that's how your brushes work. Our layers again is just like any other program like Photoshop or whatever. Every time you want to build something upon this, it's just like a cake. You can have a layer of frost on top of your mountains. You can turn all that on and off. You have caverns underneath it. You can turn on and off. Chasms, your trees, deciduous, that's your birch and your regular trees. And then you've got your pine trees. You've got swamp, which is like a pre-generated biome. When you click on that over your land, it will generate swampy things, swampy trees and things of that nature, and then also the sky colors, and also same with your jungle. It will pre-generate some of your jungle biome. Void, why you'd want that, I don't know, but if you do, put a fucking void in the map, and that's no blocks within that area all the way up, all the way down. Resources, again, this is where if you want it to pre-generate resources, underground popsicle, or again, you can control this on the export of the map when you are all done. So if you don't do it during the generation or the process of building the map, you can do it when you export the map. Populate. Whether or not you want to let Minecraft populate the land with vegetation, snow, and everything else, I say no, because you're going to spend a lot of time making a custom map. You're going to populate it, and then Minecraft is going to fuck it up with all kinds of shit. So do not use the populate button unless you just want to fuck your shit up. Or if you just want to make just a really quick map, populate it and do whatever. There you have a biomes button. Again, by default, it's unchecked, but when you check it and click on biomes, it brings up all your different biomes that you can actually paint onto the map. And that's how you apply these, is with the brushes, and also the size of your brush, and we'll go over that here in just a second. Down here is your terrain. You can pick up whatever you want. If you wanted to paint down sand, you could paint down sand. You can add custom terrains, and they'll show up down here. I'm not going to go over all that. You can play with those. Over here are your brush settings. Your rotation, that takes the brush that you have and rotates it one way or the other, which is very, very handy, especially if you have custom brushes and they're angled a certain way. You can angle them a different way without having to make multiple copies of the same brush, which I think that's what those are, but I think that was before this release. Intensity, that's just how much pressure the brush puts upon the palette or the template or the ground, whatever you're applying this to, whatever you want to call that. Of course, 100% is the more that this will eat through or pull up from the map. So you have to play around with your intensity and how much you want to brush onto the map. Options, at or above. If you want to control a certain level, like everything above, say, 87 blocks, you want to specifically put snow or whatever, you'll click this on and then check your above and make sure that your level matches that. At or below is the exact opposite. Everything below 87 blocks that I put all that precious snow on, I want it to be a certain material. It'll be at or below, and you'll pick your material and paint it, and it'll paint everything at or below that particular number. Only paint it on water, if that's what you want, or you only want to paint it on land. So in other words, if you're painting your grass material into something else and you don't want it to paint the water too, especially this is more specific towards your biomes. If you want to just control it just to the land mass only, or to a specific terrain. If you just want to paint on the grass, or if you just want to paint on the sand, or if you just want to paint on the clay, or whatever that you've put in there, and you want to specifically cover up just one material, you'll pick your terrain. This will paint specifically on a layer, and this will paint specifically on a biome. So that are all the main tools. That's everything around the outside. So how do we get started, Jag? Well, is what you want to do is you want to pick a brush, and you can start off with one of these, or you can start off with a noise brush. That's probably the most common one to start off with. We will go over enable your grid and disable your height control. Up here in view, I almost forgot about this. We're going to go to configure view, and that is underneath. Move. Nope. Move. We're going to try this again. Let's move this because it's going to pop up right behind that. We're going to go to view, configure view, and right here you want to make sure that your grid is checked. Your grid size is how many blocks. When you've got a bigger map, like a 2K map, you probably want to set this to like 200, 250, probably 250, 500, somewhere around in there. But we have a 640 by 640 map, so I'm going to set it to 100. Let me go ahead and just type that in. And then your contour lines, your separation. When if you've seen a topography map, the higher it gets, you'll see all the lines around it. It kind of differentiates the distance between certain heights. So usually 5 or 10 blocks is fine. Image overlay, you don't need none of that shit. And we're going to go ahead and close that. Now you can see we have more grids. So every block is 100 by 100 because that's the way that we set up the view. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 40 blocks. Or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then the outside 2 blocks are split. One's a little bit bigger than the other. However you want to look at it, and it's going the same distance this way. But just know that a solid block is 100 by 100. This will help you out a lot, especially when it comes to scale, trying to figure out exactly where to place things and that nature. So, all right, so let's put this window back up here. We're going to grab our noise brush to start off with. Again, once you get your custom brushes, you can pick a custom brush. And we're going to go to the raise and lower tool. You scroll your mouse wheel, that will give you your brush size. And the maximum brush size, I think, is right around 6. I think it's 601. So if you build your own brushes, there's no sense going no bigger than 601 by 601 if you're putting it in GIMP or Photoshop. Again, you can use your grayscale height maps to make brushes, and you can also make brushes from the inside, but I'm not going to go over all that. But anyways, so when you get on a bigger map, remember that your full wheel is 600 blocks by 600 blocks. So again, that will give you a scale reference. On your lower left-hand corner, as you can see down here, it says 100 blocks. When you start zooming in on your map, you can kind of use this for a reference. But anyways, we're not going to make nothing that fucking big. We're going to make sure we got the raise and lower tool up, and we've got our brush. Our intensity is going to be set to 100 to start off with. We're going to left-click on the mouse, and look what starts to happen. We start pulling up in the center. It is raising the terrain, and I'm just holding the left mouse button down, and it's pulling up all the terrain in the middle. And you'll see off here on the right hand side when I let go, again, depending on how fast your computer is, it'll render what you've made over here, and you can take a look at it. And well, I don't quite like that, so I'm going to right mouse click and I'm going to suck it back down, and we're going to change it a little bit. All right, well, that looks better for what I'm looking for. I'm going to put a little bit of hole in the middle, and we've got kind of like a little volcano. You can actually get a volcano brush, and we're going to switch to that real quick, and we just hold that down, and it makes a perfect little volcano. Again, that's not a bad brush. I've used it on my custom map. But again, just for starting out, your noise brush, this is what it does. You want to keep the brush moving. You don't want to hold it in one spot because that's what you'll have. And your hills will look very sharp and very, very unnatural. Control Z to get rid of it. Control Z to get rid of that one. That's your shortcuts for your keyboard. Your next one is your flatten tool. So let's say I want a flat rim around the top. Now it'll keep all the contours, but it will flatten everything out and push everything to the outside. Again, control with your intensity. Start off at 50%, left mouse click, or right mouse click does the same thing on your flatten tool. And we're just going to flatten around the outside. And as you can see, and let me zoom in, control mouse wheel scroll. And let me move this out of the way just a little bit so I can get to this thing right here. Where's my... I wanted to move so I could see this a little bit better. All right, there we go. So left mouse click again, and as you can see, these lines are getting a lot tighter on the outside. So it's pushing everything out, but it's not changing the actual contours of what you had there. You're just flattening a surface out. This is really good if you've built a mountain and you want a little bit of a plateau with a nice sharp edge on the outside. You can do this on the outside just like this here and start pushing it in. And I will do it over here so we can actually see it on the little render screen, the 3D view. And I'm just left clicking around really slowly, and I'm pushing this edge in, and it's going to make it very, very sharp. Again, control your height. Right now we are at a height of 99, and remember this is 64. So that's not a really, really big difference, especially on this map that we're looking at about 350 blocks by 320 blocks, something like that. So this is a nice size little plateau area for building a house. You can put trees on the top of it or whatever. So that's how that works. Your smoothing out tool. All right, so let's take our cracks brush, and we're just gonna cracks brush, and make sure that you go back to raise and lower. And we'll go over the lower here in just a minute. Right now we're just raising the terrain. We're going to go ahead and take the cracks brush and do this kind of number right here around the outside. Now if you generate this into Minecraft, you're going to get a lot of blocks. If you look down here at the bottom, you'll see 64, 65, 64, 66. You're going to get a lot of blocks that are going to be up, down, up, down, up, down, and it's going to look like complete fucking garbage. So you only want to use this on certain areas. If you want to hold it down and do something like that, I don't know why. Again, the cracks brush works better at a bigger size, just to punch it one time and get just like one single crack in the ground, and that will give you like a guideline to put in your rivers and stuff like that. But we don't want that. We want to smooth that out. Again, intensity at 50 for right now, and we're going to kind of left click and smooth this back out. So it's going to leave it one layer high, and it's going to take off everything that is too high, and it's going to try to control everything with your main contours and smooth it out. So this is a very, very nice tool, especially for noisy brushes. And you can see over here that it's got, you know, a real nice edge to it now. These edges right here, I don't like those. Again, if you generate this into a Minecraft map, it's going to be very sharp. It's going to look very unnatural. So again, we're just slowly working the brush, left clicking, again, or right clicking works with your smooth brush also. And we're just going to smooth this on out and get a nice little curve right here and take out all that fucking noise. Again, that will be a preference on how much noise or how much or how little noise that you want on your terrain. So let's say that's what we want. Again, there's a mountain tool. I don't suggest using it. It doesn't work quite right. It pulls up a mountain, and it's very sharp looking and very unnatural. So you can play around with that if you want to, but that's up to you. Your spawn location, just click on that and move your spawn point wherever the hell you want on the map. And that helps for bigger maps if you're just exporting a smaller region of the map, and you don't want to fly all the way across the map, or you want to be in a specific spot when you log in. That will be your spawn location. There's two more buttons: sponge dry up or reset water level. That's if you put too much water on it, you can just click it and just sucks up all the water, I believe. Oops. And this is your global operation. This is another one that is going to be very, very, very fucking handy, especially once you start building a lot of different things in your map. As you can see, add or below, add or above, only that's the same stuff that's over here. But this applies to everything on the map. So everything on the map, I want to fill the terrain with dirt. Go. Now everything on the map, if you look down here, material is dirt. All right, so let's go back to global operations and look again and see what it says. We have fill with, again, different terrain materials. Reset terrain type to default. That's whatever you started your map with. Fill the layer with, and you can fill the layer with a certain biome or whatever, and then how much strength you want on that particular layer. And remove a layer. All this stuff down here I've never touched, so you probably won't either. The biggest thing you'll probably use is fill a terrain with a certain type, and these ones over here. So we know that the top of that mountain, let's look at this again. The top of this mountain was 99 and this was 64. Let's say about halfway up from here to the top, let's say 83. So from 83 up, I want stone. So we'll go to the global operations and we're going to fill with, and we're going to look for stone as soon as I can get that out of the way. And we're going to scroll down. It's down toward the bottom. Let's go with stone, at or above. and we want everything above layer 88 to go to stone. So we click go, and there you have it. Again, it's a little unnatural, but it does work for certain things. Back on the global operations, let's say that you have a certain, let's undo that real quick. Control Z, global operations, and we're going to do that again, but we're going to fill the terrain with, and whoops, where is it? Stone, stone, stone. But now we want to do it at or above a 45-degree angle. Now, I don't think I have anything at a 45-degree angle yet, so I'm going to go ahead and lower this to, let's say, 30 degrees. I should have some 30-degree rocks right here, and we're going to click go. Now, as you can see, it grabs everything that's at a 30-degree angle on the map, even down here, and turns it to stone. This is a really nice effect for adding on top of volcanoes if you just want right on the edges and stuff like that. Now, if you don't like that, you can obviously control it with a brush, with a smoother brush, and we can go over here and raise or lower, or pick up our stone material, and that cancels out these up here. And then your intensity will be how intense I want this stone to be placed on the map. 100%, as soon as I touch it, psst, it's going to start filling up. It's just like an airbrush. It's going to allow a lot of that stone to flow all over the map. The lower the intensity, it'll just start scattering it. So you can get a scattered effect mixed in with your other materials, your grass, your dirt, and whatever. Again, a higher intensity around like the lip of a volcano looks really, really good. And again, you can control that size by the size of your mouse wheel, where and how you want it. So we don't like that. We're going to go ahead and take that back off. Control Z, and that is our map. Again, for, let's see, let's go ahead and change the map back to fill with grass. Go, because I want trees to grow along the top of it. So now we're going to go ahead and add some trees. We're going to put some deciduous trees. So I click on those, and now again that cancels out your brushes and also your tools, and this becomes my deciduous tree brush. Works with your intensity. I do not recommend anything over 45 to 49. You get any more intense than that, and then you have a forest that you can't walk through at all. So you'll have to play around with the intensity to see just how much tree density that you want on your map. Control it again by a certain size, and we just start painting it on. Now, auto biomes should be enabled, so everything in this area automatically turns to, it should be forest. As you see at the bottom, auto biome forest 4. So your 4 is your level. So if I turn the intensity down a little bit, let's say to 19, and we spray a little bit here, we should have deciduous level 2. There it is. Deciduous level 2, auto biome forest 4. Up here, this is a deciduous level of 3, 4, 3, 4. This is probably 2, 3, 2, 3, and 1. So it's a little bit thinner. So that's your intensity about where you want the trees and about how thick you want them. And then that also controls that specific biome just in that area. Again, you will have to play around with the different biomes, painting them on and stuff like that to get a little bit better control over where they bleed into certain other biomes. If I just leave this right now, if I walk up this area and I'll render this map out. I know it looks like shit, but we're going to render it out anyways and look at it. You'll see a specific green circle here on the map and a very light green circle on the outside. So you'll have to, again, control that using your levels and your layers over here to paint your biomes on very specifically where you want them, and then also using your intensity to get a certain biome effect if you want it to blend out certain ways. Again, I am still a noob at this. There's still a lot of things that I don't know about it, but that's all the basic functions of World Painter. So we'll close out this. Now let's say this is our awesome map. This is what we want, but that's not where I want my spawn location. I want to put it right here. That way I'm right next to these trees and I'm looking at this cool ass mountain when we start off. And I want to go ahead and put stone back on this. So we're going to go back down to stone just so we can see what it looks like. And if you pick, I think it's rock, uses cobblestone and stone, which is pretty cool. But we're just going to use stone at or above. Let's go back down to 35 and see if that'll pull something up for us. And there we go. That'll just give us something else to look at once we render this map out. All right, so now we have our map ready and we're ready to export it. So we're going to go to File. We're going to go to Export, export as a new Minecraft map, and holy shit do you get a lot of different fucking options. Up top, that's the directory. That's where it's automatically going to go to your Minecraft saves folder, so you don't have to do nothing. You don't have to move the file. It will automatically put it where it is, so when it's done, you start your game, you pick your map, whatever you call it. We called it generated world. You'll pick that and you'll be right here on the map. You have a general tab, caverns and chasms, resources, and other layers. Again, this is where you can specifically control certain aspects of your map. The first is your general top layer. Don't mess with any of this shit up here. Underground material right now is going to be stone, so if I dig through this grass, I'm going to hit stone. A bottomless world, again, I don't think you'd want to fuck with that. Your border, you can either put no border on it. That means it's almost like MC Edit, where I take this 640 by 640 and I drop it right down into a Minecraft world, and it looks like shit. So again, I would probably, unless you're just rendering out a specific area, when you finalize your map, you're going to want at least put a water border around it. Water or land at level 62, if that was your default setting was 62. Again, I wouldn't really mess with that. That should be fine. You can do it with lava if you're doing a cool lava survival map. Your border size, this is how many blocks that it will generate water out from the outside from the 640 by 640 frame that we've built. It will add another 256 blocks on each side of bedrock wall or water before it starts generating a Minecraft map. So take that in consideration when you're rendering out your map. If you've got a 10K map, you're going to add another 500 blocks around on the outside. You've just made it an 11K map. So just keep that in mind. Your Minecraft seed, this is again a random number. That's what's going to generate on the outside once this map is rendered out. Down here, include chest of goodies. No, you definitely want to change this and make it creative. That way you can allow cheats. Make sure that is checked. World type, you can do large biomes, super flat, or default. If you do super flat and you have biomes and stuff painted on here, it's not gonna, it won't actually paint them because it's for a super flat world. So most of the time you'll probably want to do default. You can play around with those and see what those do. Map format, we are in 1.7, so you won't have to change that. Make sure it is anvil. Structures on if you want the different structures and villages around the map. Export everything. If everything is set up the way that you want it, you don't want to change nothing, you'll click export. Depending on the speed of your computer, the size of your map, and how much shit you put on your map is how long it's going to take. So we'll click that here in just a minute. Caverns and chasms, or chasms, excuse me. I always say chasms and I get shit for it. You can turn on caverns everywhere or chasms everywhere, and then the intensity around the map, how much you want that to show up. So if you want that, click that and control your intensity. The different levels, flood the caverns with water or whatever, and you want them to break through the surface or not, check those. Here's your resources. If you didn't put any resources on the map, underneath you can control what materials you want to be on the underneath the main surface and at what intensity. So if you're building a server map and you want it to be a very heavily populated with gold, that sounded fucking weird the way that came out. Populated with gold, you will increase the percentage. Again, be careful with that. This can be very, very, very aggressive. Like 10%, you're going to get a lot of damn gold. Again, as what levels you want it to be produced at, or you can just click resources everywhere and set everything up, and then how much intensity per area you want it to render out at. Again, you'll have to play around with this. I'm not doing any resource maps, so I don't have any more information about this screen. Other layers, allow Minecraft to populate the entire terrain. Again, if you're lazy and you just want Minecraft to just populate your mountains and shit that you just did, go ahead and see what it does. Deciduous forest everywhere. If you didn't put any on, you can click those and how much intensity. Jungle, pine, and swampland, same thing there. Frost everywhere. So leave these on by default, especially if you're doing mountains and stuff like that, or whether smooth snow applies hand-painted frost layer. And then frost under the trees also applies to hand-painted frost layer. So if you paint a frost layer on, you're definitely going to want those checked out. But once we have everything here the way that we want it, we can click export. But let's say we're doing a big map and we don't want to wait 15 minutes, 20 minutes for the map to render out. We just want to check just a small area, and you're going to want to do this a lot while you're making a map. You're going to, oh, I didn't show you how to lower shit. We're going to have to go back in here a minute. Sorry, guys. Fucking got in a hurry, I guess. You're going to want to export selected areas of this map while you're making it to see what a certain area looks like without having to render out the whole map. So you're going to go to export selected tiles, and I just clicked on that, and you're going to get another window. You're going to do dimensions to export should be on surface. You're going to see your map. If it's bigger than this, you'll have to left click or right click to drag the map around, and you'll see this little red box. We're just going to left click and hold and select just this corner. That's all I want rendered out. It's not going to render any of this. So this is your selection that you'll render out, and you'll click OK. Make sure that your spawn is within this here. Otherwise, a pop-up will come up and tell you that, you know, your spawn's not where it needs to be or whatever the fuck. But anyways, and then just click OK. So now it'll say export for selected tiles. Again, this will increase or decrease depending on the size of your map or how much you want it to export. But we're going to export everything here in just a second. Let's go back to the raise and lower brush, and we are on 64. Right as we did up here, lowers the terrain. So as you can see over here, when I start cutting down, 63, 62, there's your water level right here. So it works the exact opposite of raising the terrain. I probably didn't have to go over that, but it should have been, you know, kind of common sense. But again, you can left click around, grab a noise brush, you know, scoot it up, something like this. Grab your smooth brush, which is, or your smooth tool, which is that one I keep forgetting, and kind of smooth it out a little bit, get rid of a little bit of that noise, and bam, we got a lake. All right, so anyways, that's how that works. So we're going to go back up here, export as a new Minecraft map. Everything should be exactly the way that no, it's not, because it changed. Once you save it one time, as long as you continue working in on that map, everything down here will stay the same. But we're going to double check creative, allow cheats, large biomes, default. I don't want structures, export everything, anvil, everything looks good. Call generated world, click export. You'll see the line move. Again, will depend on everything that I have already mentioned before. It will tell you when it gets down how many minutes if it's really large. And when it's done, it will tell you how many blocks were generated, statistics, land area, water or lava, total surface area, and generated how many blocks or how many blocks per second, map size, and how many kilobytes per second that it rendered out. Useful information, I guess, if you're into numbers and how your computer's benchmarking. But anyways, click OK. Everything closes out, and we'll open up our Minecraft world, and I will show you this world, and we'll be done with this tutorial. When you exit this out, it'll ask you if you want to save it. You can save it back to another folder that you put on your desktop called World Painter or wherever the hell you want to put it. And we'll go ahead and jump into Minecraft and take a look at this awesome world that we just created. So we'll be right back. All right, so at your select world screen, you'll see your generated world, the one that we picked, or the one that we made, whatever you called it, and you're going to play the selected world. All right, we are on our awesome map that we made. I think by default, you're automatically facing south. So there's your sun to the east, and north behind me, west to the right. There is the cool-ass mountain that we made, and these are the noise blocks on the outside. See, this is what it did over here that I did not hit the smooth brush to. And that's what your noisy blocks look like. So again, you want to make sure that you smooth those out. There's your biome. As you can see, it's painted, and it tries to fade it out just a little bit. So that gives you a little bit better idea of how that works. This was the 47% worth of trees, I believe, is what that was. So there is your forest biome. There's the edge of your map over here. Again, remember, this is only a 640 by 640 map, so it's not entirely large. And because we only put I don't remember what we put, no border. It tried to generate an ocean around it. This is the best that it got, and this is what it does. So again, you want to make sure that you control your borders. That way you can get rid of some of this shit on the outside. There's your lower intensity on your deciduous brushes. I have speed this up just a little bit. There we go. All right. So here is the lower intensity. You still get the biome around it because it's still a biome. So you can see it's the same color. You're not going to get a lighter biome just because you used a lighter intensity. You're just going to get your trees are going to be a little more scattered. There is our mountain. So everything that over 30 degrees sharp had your stones on it. And we're going to fly over here. there is the fucked up cracks brushed. Again, that's what happens when you just push it down and don't do anything with it. So that's mess. Don't use it like that. All right, over here should be our water, and that's what our pond looks like. So you can kind of get an idea of what we just did on the map, what it looks like as far as scale goes. And if we just like did this pond and wanted to render out this pond, you could render it out and then change things or whatever. And we did not really hit this with a smooth brush really good, so you're getting not really a noise, but you still got a very, very noisy edge. So you can smooth that out a little bit more if you want to. And that is our awesome mountain, and we could build a nice castle up here. Maybe after we fill that back in, we'll go back in the map and change it and do whatever you want. But that is World Painter, guys. I'm sorry, that's the best that I've got. I haven't been working with it very long. You can definitely watch some other tutorials on YouTube. There's some much better ones than probably what this is. This was just a very quick tutorial on all the very basic parts of World Painter. Should get you going and get you starting on creating your own maps, which is a lot of fun. I'll tell you right now, I've been working on my map for several about a week or two now, and I'm having a really good time. And I'm controlling the terrain instead of letting Minecraft control it. And if you're a builder or you want to be a map maker, this is definitely probably the most powerful tool that you'll find, and it is free. So that is really, really awesome. As far as your custom brushes goes, guys, once you download a custom brush, either from the links on other videos, or I may throw a couple free ones down there for you or whatever. I spent a little bit of time trying to track those down, so I'm going to let you do a little footwork. They're really easy. You can find a lot of other World Painter tutorial videos. You can go to the Minecraft forums and get brushes. All right, guys, so you're going to go to your start bar. You're going to go to the run. You're going to go to %app_data%, and that's going to give you your app data and your roaming. So again, this is to install your custom brushes. You're going to scroll down until you see World Painter, and that is right here. Double click on that. You will probably need to make a folder, call it brushes lowercase. Double click, and this is where you're going to dump them into. And as you can see, there's all your brushes. So if it's not there by default, you're going to have to create a folder, and that's where you're going to put them. Really, really simple. And when you open your World Painter back up, you'll have the little custom brush palette on the right hand side where you saw it on mine. So anyways, that is our World Painter tutorial, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Remember to rate, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Later.